Hi you guys, what's up? Welcome back to Can We Survive? And on today's show, I've got some options for you that just may save your life. So what are we talking about here? What we're talking about is a few things that you can do to help safeguard your good time. While adventuring around in the mountains, while adventuring out in the desert, wherever it is you may go, there's always a chance that something will come in and interrupt your good time. What we're talking about is wildlife predators, from coyotes and wolves, mountain lions, possibly bears, things of that sort. And what I want to talk about is just a few things that you could do to safeguard yourself. Now, there's a wide variety of options. We're only going to cover a few, some of the stuff that I actually own myself, and some of the stuff that I carry myself to safeguard in these situations. All right, so let's start off simple. Let's start off with something simple. Again, we're talking about things, tools, equipment, something that you have with you in case you need to defend yourself against some sort of attack. And one of the most simple things is a knife. All right, well, whether it be a small pocket knife, whether it be a little camp knife, or even a larger knife, tactical knife, whatever it is that you like to carry, because when you're out there, you might want to carve on some limbs and whittle some wood, carve yourself up a little spoon. You're probably going to have a knife with you wherever you go. And a knife is a good option to have. I mean, you never know if something comes up and you have to defend yourself. I've read a lot of books on different animal attacks, how you're supposed to react, how you're not supposed to react, what to do, what not to do, things of that sort. And a lot of them, the majority of them, talk about fighting back and standing your ground, picking something up off the ground, hitting them in the snout, poking him in the eyes. So if that's what you're supposed to do, it would be good to have that item on you instead of having to search around for it. So a knife, I think, is a good basic option that all of us could carry, and it doesn't have to intimidate other people that may be hiking on the trail with you. A nice knife just to have, it's normal out there in the woods on hiking trails, and I think it's a very good, at least the minimum thing that you should have with you. Again, the key here is to know your area. If you're hiking through a wooded park, you're probably not going to need anything. What I'm talking about is deep adventuring, really getting out there where things, animals, predators live. That's the places we like to go. We like to adventure. So know your area, know what your limitations are going to be, and know that you don't have to, pack a rocket launcher if you're just going for a nice walk on a heavily walked trail that there's not a lot of game animals around in that area. So next on the list is bear spray. Now, bear spray is something I think that everyone from one end all the way to the other, both ends of the spectrum, that people could use to carry with them for emergencies. So bear spray is like the pepper spray for animals, not for humans, for animals. And what it does, it's to deter them from attacking you. You don't just rush up to them and spray them. If you get yourself in a situation, whether it be a coyote or some wolves, a bear, bear spray is going to be a good option for everyone. What I like to keep in the back of my mind is, I don't really, even though I've made some videos where I'm hiking around with a rifle on my back, that's not really what I do if I'm going to encounter other people in the area, because I don't want to, maybe there's other people that don't like firearms. I don't want to intimidate anybody or look like I'm some kind of crazy man. You're going to want to stay kind of low key, kind of gray man, not really intimidating to others, but at the same time being prepared for what may come up. That's why something like bear spray, wherever you go, would be good. This thing will set off about 30 feet of a spray for about 5 to 7 seconds. And what it does is deters that bear. It's not going to injure the bear, but it's going to deter them from attacking you, allowing you to get away from the situation. So out of everything I showed today, my suggestion would be that everyone has a little can of this. Nice emergency. You can just clip it to your belt. You want it readily accessible. You don't want this in your pack. Walking along, it's very lightweight. Clip it to your belt. You may never ever have to use it. I've had this can for over 2.5 years. Never had to use it. I've never had to shoot an animal. I don't want to shoot an animal. That's not my goal here. My goal here is to keep us all safe with these options, just in case that one time does come up, that you're gonna be prepared. We prepare with all this gear in our kit: water, food, sleeping bags, sleeping pads, good tents. We prepare all of this stuff to go out and have an awesome, great adventure. And we don't think about some sort of protection like a firearm or bear spray. It's got to be part of your kit. And again, this is a perfect option for everyone, especially if you're not into firearms, or if that's not really, if it's not legal where you're going, possibly. This is your best option. Carry some bear spray, read all the directions, watch some videos on it, and really, get all the knowledge you can, because this little can here could save you or your friends or your family's lives. So now I'd like to talk about some firearm options that I personally use and like to take out when I go out. Now, for me, I always have a knife. Some of the things that we've covered already. I always have a knife. I always have that bear spray with me, possibly to give it to Niels to carry, as well as some sort of firearm. Now, for the past couple of years, I've been carrying a 10mm semi-automatic pistol with me when I go into some pretty dangerous areas. Now, this is usually a backup. I have like I said, I have the bear spray, I have a knife. This gun will be a backup. It's not a primary. And there's a ton of options with pistols. And your best pistols are going to be like a 41 or 44 or 454 or 500 revolver. These are going to be, if you're in Alaska, something like that, where you're in brown bear, grizzly bear, polar bear territory, you need some serious stuff. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the lower, Canada, US, being that this isn't a 9mm or something like this does give you a better option than your standard calibers. Now, it's very important that we talk about ammo selection in these firearms. You can't just load up some defensive ammo or regular range ammo and think it's going to be the same as a wildlife type round. The 10mm, I use buffalo bore heavy cast lead bullets. These are very powerful for the 10mm. Again, obviously not as powerful as a 44 mag or a 454, 500. But what we're talking about here is what I can do accuracy wise. Follow-up shots, as well as this is a Glock 20. This particular gun holds 15 rounds in the magazine. So that's 15 rounds of accurate fire with reduced recoil compared to some of these revolvers. Just a word of caution, you need to do your own research if you're looking to follow up on any of this stuff, because you cannot use the bullets that I use in a stock Glock barrel. I have an aftermarket barrel. The rifling pitch will not work for these hard cast lead bullets. I have an aftermarket barrel here, which is 1 inch longer than stock, as well as it has a different rifling pitch, so you can use these hard cast lead bullets. So this is a little bit more extreme when it comes to protection. Carrying around a rifle is going to expose it to other people. Again, I think in terms of, if you were walking, you saw maybe a person or a group of people over there, walking around with a gun, it wasn't a hunting season, you might be a little weary or leery of the situation. That's why I like to be as low key and conceal these types of items to where you're not bothering other people, but you're still keeping yourself safe. Well, this gun here is something when I would go deeper into some adventuring territory and possibly come across some more dangerous, bigger predators or game. This is a Marlin 4570, 1895 SBL with a 2x optic on here with a long eye relief. Okay, it's lever action, and the 4570 round is a monster. This will put down any game animal in North America. So when you decide to pack a guide gun or a brush gun like this, you're probably going to be in a more serious area where there's real serious threats. This is just that top end of the spectrum that I was talking about. We start at the bottom end with the knives and the bear spray and go all the way up to the top end. We're not talking about hunting, we're talking about adventuring around. This gun is short and light enough to pack around with you, but it also has enough power to stop any threat that you want. So that's the high end that we're looking at here as far as protection goes. This is something that Alaskan guides carry around with them, along with a big revolver backup. This has proven itself with hundreds of years of experience with people out in the wild. All right, finally, you guys, I want to come up to the last thing I want to talk about, and that's a shotgun. This is the Mossberg Shockwave. So it's not really a pistol grip, it's kind of like a mare's leg handle here with a short barrel on it. This is something that you could put in your backpack, okay? And still have pretty easy access to pull this out. And you're gonna be, this is almost like a panic situation shotgun, because not really gonna be shooting like this, more from the hip for an area of effect. You know, if wolves are attacking, coyotes, and then again, you've got a wide variety of shells that you can use for this. The shells that the ones that I normally use, I'll use number 4 shot steel, I'll use double-aught buckshot, and slugs. So this is another thing with a slug in a shotgun. If you've got a bear charging you, that is a pretty big piece of lead that's going out there. If you get yourself in a situation where it's life or death, and all the experts tell you to play dead, well, instead of playing dead, you give yourself an option to stay alive. This type of shotgun is going to do it. You throw some double-aught buck or some heavy rifled slugs at this, and you're going to be able to do some work. Again, you know the territory, know the areas where you're going. Do your research, learn what's out there. Because a lot of this stuff I'm showing you might be overkill. I just want us all to be safe and be able to have a good time. Not have to worry that if we do encounter a situation that we're going to be completely unprepared and something bad could happen. Percentages are the other way. But like I said, we pack all this gear for our adventure to stay warm, to stay hydrated, to stay full with food. Why wouldn't we think about this type of protection? Again, this may not be suitable for your area. That's why I said know your territory where you're going so you can enjoy, have a good time. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. And if you guys have something to add to it, definitely down in the comment section, I'd like to see the interaction. Maybe tell me what you guys carry. Maybe tell me if you're more of a bear spray person than a firearm. Where you land on that spectrum. We all can have a good time adventuring around. Thanks for watching, everybody.